Entry into the Venezuela crisis. Fighter jets roar, warships sail, and a dangerous showdown is building as Moscow openly warns Washington, touch Venezuela, and face Russian firepower. The world holds its breath. Is this the spark that could ignite a new Cold War? According to reports, Venezuela is rallying Russian jets and warships, ready to strike if the United States crosses the red line. The Kremlin has already boosted its military presence in the region, sending strategic bombers, naval fleets, and advisors to strengthen Caracas. For Washington, this is a direct challenge. U.S. troops are on alert in the Caribbean, and intelligence officials are monitoring every Russian move closely. Venezuela's leadership has openly declared that any American interference will be considered an act of war. With Russian backing, Caracas is louder and more confident than ever before. Experts warn that this face-off is more than just a regional dispute. It could reshape global power dynamics. The U.S. risks a dangerous escalation, while Russia sees a golden opportunity to expand its influence right in America's backyard. The world is now watching a high-stakes chess game unfold. Will Washington back down, or will Venezuela and Russia push the U.S. into a direct confrontation? One wrong move, and the standoff could spiral into a full-scale war. Stay tuned, because history might be written in Venezuela. Analysts believe this crisis is not just about Venezuela's sovereignty, but about global dominance. For decades, Washington considered Latin America its sphere of influence. But now, Russia's military presence challenges that supremacy directly, sending a loud message to the White House. Russian warships patrolling the Caribbean and fighter jets flying alongside. Venezuelan forces are symbols of a new power struggle, unfolding dangerously close to U.S. borders. Ordinary citizens in Venezuela are both anxious and hopeful. Some see Russia as a shield against American intervention, while others fear their homeland could become the battlefield of a global conflict. In Washington, debates are heating up. Should the U.S. respond with force to protect its regional authority, or should it avoid direct confrontation with another nuclear power? Every move, every deployment, and every statement from Moscow and Washington is raising the tension meter higher. Allies of both sides are watching carefully, calculating their positions. Could NATO be drawn into this standoff? Could China quietly support Russia to weaken the United States further? These questions add even more fuel to an already volatile situation. One thing is clear: the Venezuela crisis is no longer local. It has become a frontline in the great power rivalry, a test of wills between Washington and Moscow. The coming days will decide whether this remains a cold standoff or erupts into a fiery conflict that shakes the world order. If this confrontation escalates, the consequences could be catastrophic. Military experts warn that a single miscalculation, one jet crossing into contested airspace, one warship misreading radar signals, could spark an armed clash between U.S. and Russian forces. And unlike past proxy wars, this would be happening directly, face-to-face. In the Western Hemisphere, energy politics add another layer of danger. Venezuela's vast oil reserves are central to this struggle. Washington wants control over global energy flows, while Moscow sees Caracas as a strategic partner to weaken U.S. sanctions and dominate energy markets. This makes Venezuela more than just a battleground. It's a prize both superpowers are unwilling to give up. Meanwhile, global markets are already trembling. Oil prices have surged on fears of disruption, and investors are watching nervously. A U.S.-Russia confrontation in Latin America would not only endanger regional stability, but also shake the foundations of the global economy. Across the world, leaders are calling for restraint, but behind closed doors, military planners are preparing for the worst. Russian warships remain stationed, Venezuelan forces are mobilized, and U.S. surveillance aircraft continue to circle the skies. Every hour the risk grows. The question remains: is this brinkmanship or the beginning of a new global war? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world has entered a dangerous new chapter, and Venezuela is now at the center of it all. Behind the scenes, intelligence agencies are racing to decode the strategies of both Moscow and Washington. Satellite images reveal unusual Russian naval movements, While intercepted communications suggest Venezuela is preparing its coastal defenses with Russian technology, the Pentagon is quietly shifting assets closer to the Caribbean, ensuring rapid response if a crisis erupts. Each side claims it does not want war, but their actions tell a different story. Both are arming, both are watching, and both are daring the other to make the first mistake. For the Venezuelan leadership, this alliance with Russia is more than survival, it's a statement of defiance. They believe that with Moscow's support, they can resist U.S. pressure, sanctions, and possible intervention. Russian advisors are already training Venezuelan pilots, upgrading missile systems, and testing new radar installations designed to track American aircraft. In many ways, Venezuela has become a testing ground for Russian military technology, right under America's nose. Meanwhile, American allies in the region, Colombia, Brazil, and others, are uneasy. They fear being pulled into a conflict they did not choose. Latin America is being divided, with some siding with Washington and others quietly leaning toward Moscow. The old balance of power is breaking down, and uncertainty is spreading like wildfire. Ordinary people across the globe are glued to their screens, watching updates, asking the same question: how close are we to a direct war between the world's strongest nuclear powers? Social media is flooded with images of Russian jets landing in Venezuela, U.S. warships cruising in the Caribbean, and military drills that look less like training and more like rehearsals for battle. This is no longer just about Venezuela. It's about credibility, power, and global dominance. If the United States backs down, it risks looking weak in its own hemisphere. If Russia retreats, it loses a chance to challenge American supremacy. Neither side wants to appear soft, and that makes the standoff even more explosive. One wrong step, one command given in haste could light the fuse. And if that happens, the fire won't be contained to Venezuela. It could spread across oceans, dragging the entire world into chaos.